Hey, you done all you can. You created a nice thumbnail. You wrote out your scripts. You did all this pre-roll, mid-roll, end roll, and yet no one is watching your videos. What's going on? I mean, what really is going on? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Well, hello, and this is episode 66 with the Melvin Live Show. And today's live stream, it's brought to you, it's powered by StreamYard, right? And so if you've not checked out StreamYard, this is a really good tool that you should check it out because it literally allows you to not just do live streaming, but yet at the same time, it allows you to bring in guests and have interviews and have shared screen and all the good stuff. So check it out, guys. All right. Now back to our show here today. So what I was talking about in the introduction really is this whole idea about, you come up with all these tools and you're doing all that you can to get the views on the videos on your videos. However, it's just not happening. And so what's wrong here? Now, and actually the main thing that you could do, it's something which is very, very simple. But before we get into that simple tool itself, I just like to share with you a story. So the story is about relates to back in 2016 when I was traveling with my family on our one-year travel adventure. One of the key things that I truly wanted to capture was this moments of us traveling together. And I felt that pictures doesn't quite do the job. And so that's when I decided to pick up using videos. And initially, when I got started, I was just using my cell phone, just recording wherever I go. However, later on, I realized that much of the footage was either not usable or it doesn't say anything. And it didn't allow me to stitch things together in a meaningful way to tell a particular story. And and so what I did was I actually went on YouTube and started watching how other people do it. And through that process itself, I kind of taught myself how to do that and how to tell a better story. And so version two of my videos were essentially filming the whole day and then going back to the Airbnb in at night and really just watching all the footage that I've taken for the day and painstakingly trying to put everything together. So I would spend anywhere upwards of 2 hours just to put a 10 minutes video together. And it took a lot of work. And sometimes I it was hard pressed for me to even want to tell to see what story I could tell. And then that's where version 3 came about. And when version 3 came about, what I did was every day when I wake up, I know where we were going for that day itself. And so once I have an idea of where we're going and what is going to happen, I then have a mental picture in my mind in terms of how I would document the entire process itself. And so I would then be looking out for specific scenes that I want to capture, specific footage that I want to have. And I would even ask my kids to do certain things so that I'm able to capture them. For example, like walking along the Berlin Wall and to be able to try out some of the the food in Berlin, sidewalk, for example. And so that allows me to, when I came back, that allows me to really come down to putting things into perspective and putting things onto the timeline in the project, and then able to do my edit from there. So that was version 3. Now, version 4 came about when I came back to Singapore, and because I'm based in Singapore for the last, God knows, 40 years. And so I kind of know this place sort of inside out. And I also knew that every day what was going to happen. And so with that itself, I then know that, okay, today I'm going to go to this place, and at this place itself, I'm going to have this as a backdrop. I'm able to use this as a backdrop, and I'm able to say something that is contextually relevant to the backdrop itself. At the same time, I'm also able to share with friends outside of Singapore how beautiful my country is. And so it was a more deliberate thing. And when it came to version 4, one of the key things that I really focused on was, am I able to do everything within one take? Because, so you might ask, like, what's the big deal with doing it within one take? I think doing it within one take truly forces me to think very clearly and to be able to speak very succinctly on a particular topic within a short period of time. And I should only just do it one time. And with that itself, it forces me to think upstream. What are some of the things that I need to say? What are some of the footage I need to capture? And so when it comes to the actual filming itself, I literally knew, or I already had rehearsed in my mind what I wanted to say. And so when it comes to the filming itself, it was a lot easier. Now, because when it comes to editing, it makes it even easier because everything within that one take itself, it's uncut. And if anything, I would just want to add some effects, some color grading, some color correction, and all that good stuff. And so it made the entire process a lot simpler. And so the point of the story is that when it comes to creating the videos itself, one of the key things that you have to bear in mind is that, what does this video means to someone? What problem does it solve? Because if it doesn't solve any problem, if it's just you talking about what's going on in your day, I think it's going to be hard pressed for anyone to want to watch that, because there are arguably lots and lots of content out there that are better, that are more valuable, that are more entertaining than watching you talk about what happened in your day. And so one of the key things really, it's about solving a particular problem. But what if you are not just able to think about what problem does it solve? Then the main thing that you really need to do is to do this. You really have to figure out for yourself, right, like the content that you're going to create. Who are the people that you are going to reach? Because many a time when I speak to people, many a time when I talk to clients, for example, and I ask them, like, so tell me, who is it that you want to reach? They would either tell me that it's everybody, or they would tell me that it's anybody who wants this. And the truth be told is that that's not going to happen, because speaking to a 14-year-old and speaking to a 40-year-old, it's arguably very, very different. The kind of examples that you use are going to be very different. The kind of things that you're going to say are going to be very different. And so for you to say that I'm going to reach out to anybody who needs this, it's tantamount to saying that I'm just going to throw a stone in the air and see who it hits. And so the easiest thing to do with your video essentially is to ask yourself this very simple question: what problem does it solve? And that became an obsession for me because I then started to ask myself every single time when I'm making a video, what problem does this solve? And so this video itself, it's to solve the problem where what if no one is watching it, right? What if no one is watching it? And today this is an experiment that I wanted to do because I want to touch on a topic that I think bugs many YouTubers or people who are making videos initially, because one of the hardest thing is how do I get people to want to watch my videos, or what kind of videos should I be making, right? And so when you're struggling with that, you probably make a video, but it's, it can be really like awesome in terms of cinematic and all that stuff, but truly, it's probably not going to make any difference to the person who watch it. And if the person watches it for 5 minutes, the person might go away thinking like, what did I just watch, right? And that's the last thing you want, because when that happens, the audience are never coming back. And so the point that I want to make here is the very simple thing that you can do really is to ask yourself, what is the problem that my content is trying to solve? What is the job that my content is supposed to do? Oh, my job, the job of this piece of content is to help people who are struggling with not knowing how to get people to want to watch your videos. And like I say, actually, the point is very simple and the solution to that is very simple. But now I guess the two questions that you have, it's how do I know what are the problems that people have, and where do I find these problems, right? And so let's deal with, so the rest of the video we're going to be touching on these two key questions itself. So the first question is, how do I know what problems do people have? And to answer the question, basically the easiest thing to do is to speak to someone about their problem, right? Is to speak to someone about the problem, and is to ask the person, what exactly are you facing? What problem do you have? And 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 sometimes people would tell you that, yeah, I'm facing this particular situation. I see this market, but I'm not quite sure how am I going to tackle this market itself, or I have this issue and I'm not quite sure how am I able to resolve this. And so the easiest way is to ask people, right? It's to ask people, what are the challenges that you're facing? The second easiest way to do that is actually to go on social media and to start typing in the keywords. So let's say your solution is centered around external microphone. And so the problem that this thing is it's aiming to solve is to solve the problem of getting people to sound really, really good, right? And so if people want to sound good, who are these people? It could be musicians who are playing instruments. It could be someone who is a singer, or someone who is a speaker, someone who is a podcaster, someone who is a YouTuber. So this could be the different categories of people. Now, what we want to do is to find out what are some of the problems. So, for example, that problem could be, I don't want to pay too much for an audio equipment. I just want to pay a reasonable amount, or I want a audio equipment which is really, really good, but I want it to be portable, right? Or I want a studio quality microphone, but I want to be able to use it in just about any ways. And so the way to find out those problems itself is really to go down into social media and see what people are saying. Where I go to, for example, I would join some Facebook groups, and I will find out like what are some of the questions people are asking, and then I would I would post something and to see if it catches on. For example, like right now, I'm testing this particular post, and it kind of does really, really well in the various platforms itself. And so I'm just, doing things to see how I'm able to get this to work. Um, so that's social. Now, the third way to really find out what are the questions that people are asking actually is to it's just simply to do a Google search. I mean, it's simple as it is, but who says this has to be complicated? Now, the the thing is that anyone can do this Google search, but it takes a person with an analytical mind and someone with the ability to see through this data and mine the insights. That's what we're looking at. So you can go through all these articles that people have written, comments that people have made, and find out exactly what are some of the unmet needs or some of the things that have been bugging people the whole time. So, for example, when it comes into what camera should I use for live streaming, there is a ton of options out there, and there is a huge spectrum because when you say what camera should I be using for live streaming, who exactly are you targeting, right? Are you targeting the the once in a while people who does Zoom meetings, or are you looking at people who wants to look professional, for example? So there is a huge spectrum of that, and you really want to be able to find out, like, what are these people asking, and all that. So the best way to find out what those problems are, it's to use is to do this thing, right? To ask, to go on social media, and to do a search, right? Unfortunately, it's spelled ASS. Uh, and the second part really is, now that I know all this information, what do I do with it? Right? Now that I have all this information, what exactly should I do with it? And the answer to that question is actually very simple as well. The thing is just basically, once you have all these questions, you know all this problem, it's time for you to start doing some research. And once you have done the research, you will then be able to arguably be able to come up with a list of solution for these problems, right? So for example, for me, I would know, like, okay, now I know what is the range of camera that people can look at when they are looking at live streaming. What it's on a budget level, what is on the mid range, what is on the high range itself, what sort of other equipment it's required, um, gear aside, what other things should they be paying attention to, frame rate, bit rate, internet speed, the whole works. um, and so with that really comes to the point where we want to be able to articulate those problems in such a way that attracts the people that we want to reach. Because the truth of the matter is that if you are able to make content that solves people's problem, that's when people will start paying attention. All right, it's as simple as it is. And so the the problem that I have been wanting to solve is that, is there a better way to the problem that I want to solve is that, is there a better way to for a one person business to earn $1 million in revenue annually by doing all things digital, right? So we're not talking about drop shipping and all that stuff, but we're talking about all things digital. That means you cannot be trading your time for money to earn that 1 million. Is that something that you could do to make your money via means that you're able to monetize that? And so that has been my focus itself. And that's the purpose of this show, because arguably that's what I want to be sharing with you. What are some of the things that you could be looking at, and how you could look at using this as a source of either um, either, you know, as an example or as something that you could use to kind of help you in the process itself, right? And so with that, I thank you so much for watching. And if the work that I do right now really it's centered around creating this one person 1 million all things digital. And if that's something that you want to find out more, that's something that you feel that you want to participate in, you want to have more information about that, then please feel free to join me and to be here with me and ask me any question if you might have, right? And with that, I thank you so much for watching. This is the Melbourne Live Show, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Bye-bye.